Welcome back, everyone, to Planescape Torment. You're here with Rand Lefebvre, otherwise known as DraxxKraven, when we are headed into the Brothel for Slaking intellectual lusts.
I'm gone.
Fall from grace. Before you is a stunning golden-haired woman dressed in an azure and violet dress, with two long, elegant wings draped across her shoulders. She's surveying the room with a slight smile. She's easily the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. Greetings.
Well met, traveler. How may I help you?
You notice her eyes are azure, the same color as her dress. She reaches up to brush back a stray lock of golden hair. How may I help you? Who are you?
Updated my journal.
I am called Fall from Grace. You're new to Citral, are you not? No. I suspect I've been here for quite some time, actually. Indeed. Yes, but it's a long tale, perhaps longer than I know. I'm more interested in what this place is. Huh. I guess they meant slating. I feel like it should be slaking, though. This is the brothel of slaking intellectual lusts. I take it by your question that you do not intend to partake of this establishment. What kind of brothel is this? I established this to give those lustful fevers that strike the mind more avenues of expression rather than the simply carnal. Much pleasure can be had in conversation and engaging in the verbal arts with others. Sounds dull. I assure you, it is not. Tour the brothel, see for yourselves. So this is a brothel, and there's no intercourse. Only of a psychological nature. Rest assured, it's still quite stimulating. I have to ask, why establish such a place? That is an odd question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me, at least not directly. My apologies, Lady Grace. I didn't mean to be so direct. I'm merely curious. Oh, no apologies are necessary. I'm more than happy to discuss the reasons with you if you wish. I would like to hear them, yes. Part of the answer to your question requires that you know that I am a member of the Society of Sensation. Our faction believes that one should experience as much of the multiverse as possible. And that's why you established this place. The brothel is intended to slate the lusts of even the hardened intellectual. It's designed to stimulate the mind, to heighten one's awareness of themselves and others, to create new ways of experiencing another person. It's for those who seek something more than the shallow physical pleasures that fill the hive in lower wards. I see. So this establishment just encourages intellectual fencing rather than, well, the other kind of fencing. The women here must be very special indeed. The women here are aspiring sensates. They've come to me in search of instruction to prepare themselves to enter the faction. Also, many of them have a natural grasp of language that can shatter the crust of the most hardened individual. Sensates. Yes. And the girls here are in training to be sensates. Yes, I hope that by learning the art of language and its subtleties, that the patrons and the students here may learn more about themselves. One is only as limited as their command of the language. To be able to employ language to evoke emotions in others is a tremendous skill. I have other questions. If I may ask, Lady Grace, the wings on your back, you're not human, I take it. She's one of the fiends, one of the succubi. She'll take your measure, then she'll take your soul to the lower planes, so she will. Your companion is correct. I am a lesser Teneri, more specifically a succubus. I'm afraid we're a little too common in the lower planes and elsewhere for our own good. Most of my race spend their time seducing mortals with various pleasures of the flesh. And you?
Updated my journal.
I'd like to think that I've distanced myself from that. It is ultimately a trivial and non-productive way for one to spend one's time here in the multiverse. There's so much more to life, don't you think? Perhaps so. Are you familiar with a night hag named Brothel? I'm familiar with the name. Rumors cluster thickly about that name, and most tend to discount her as myth, but I suspect that she did exist, and that she had made quite an impression in the cage during her stay here. Why do you ask? I need to find her. Truly? I find myself compelled to ask why. I need information that she has. Is this information available from no one else? I suspect that only Brothel would possess the knowledge I need.
Updated my journal.
Consider this. If Brothel does indeed exist, then she is extremely powerful and cunning. If a fraction of the stories of her activities are true, then she's a creature that has discovered new meanings of evil. To search for her is not a quest to be undertaken lightly. I realize that. Do you know anything else about her? She was said to be one of the hags of the Grey Waste, and that she was believed to possess powers and cunning far beyond those of her sisters. She came to Sigil long ago, and in addition to the evils she committed during her stay, rumor has it that her actions threatened the cage itself. Now, she primarily exists only as fiction, a figure in children's stories. I imagine the Lady of Pain dealt with her as she deals with all the threats to Sigil. The Grey Wastes.
My journal.
A blighted plane that lies effectively between Betor and the Abyss. It is frequently a battleground for the Blood War. Is there anyone else who might know about her? Someone in the Fest Hall might know more. Do you know what happened to Rebel?
My journal.
Most likely sent to a maze, one of the lady's prisons. We're familiar with mazes. Can I ask you some other questions? I came here looking for help. Perhaps you could help me. What kind of help are you looking for? I seem to have lost my memories. In doing so, I've lost myself. You've been stricken with amnesia? How terrible. Do you have any idea how it happened? Not really. At least not that I can remember. I woke up on a slab in the mortuary and everything before that's black. You awoke in the mortuary? I think the dustman mistook me for being dead, or I was dead, or something like it. All I know is that I can regenerate wounds quickly. I could be immortal, but I don't even know that for sure. The scars on your body. May I? Sure. I prefer playing the nameless one as someone who's like a little oblivious, especially to like the ways of attraction. Just like, yeah, I'm gonna tell Anna that she doesn't look like her dad because she's way too hot to have been spawned from that. Falls from grace, drags her fingers across your chest lightly, tracing the edges of your scars and following the curves where they blend into some of your tattoos. She seems fascinated. These scars do look as if they were taken several lifetimes to accumulate. They certainly do, though some are more recent. Some of those wounds would have been fatal to a normal man. What do you intend to do now? I need to get my memories back, and my life back. I intend to scour the plains and search inside myself until I can piece together who I am and what brought me here. I must say, I've never met a man who had lost himself in the literal sense. Forgive me, but your condition is intriguing. It is that. Well, I'm glad you think so. I give my apology if you will have it. Never mind. No harm done. Oh, I hit apology accepted. If it will help, you are welcome to tour the brothel. Several of our students are well versed in verbal arts. Perhaps some of them can rekindle your memories. All right.
Updated my journal.
Would you like to join me on my quest? Who is to say she'll be coming with us? We do not need the likes of her, so's we don't. Bar that, fiendling. I'm all for the succubus coming with us. The powers know you're about as fun as passing a caltrop through your bowels. You'd best let your bone box sculler already. It's so hard you'll be picking your teeth off the spire. Travel with you? That's rather forward of you. I'd rather be honest with my intentions. You seem extremely pleasant and well-versed in the ways of the plains. A companion with that kind of knowledge would be welcome. Hey, wait just a minute. I'm the one well-versed in the plains. That's my job, Chief. Having two people knowledgeable about the plains in our band seems pretty smart to me. Besides, I said pleasant, Mort. Pleasant on the eyes, maybe. Looks to me like all some chit has to do is to show a little skin and you'll sign her right up. Not that I mind that, really. I just thought I'd mention it. Noted, Mort. Look, Lady Grace, excuse me if I'm being too forward, but would you travel with us? I appreciate your candor. I shall counter with some of my own. Why should I travel with you? You mean you wouldn't be interested in traveling with an immortal amnesiac who's searching the plains for himself? Oh, I would be extremely intrigued. Such a suggestion is intriguing. Make no mistake about that. Then you would like to travel with me, then? If you wish me to, then there's something you must do for me. There are 10 students in this establishment. I would like you to speak with all of them, then return to me with your thoughts. Then we will think about traveling with each other. I will go speak to them, and will return when I have spoken to all of them.
Updated my journal.
Modrons? This strange cubic creature seems to be as much machine as it is organic. As you approach the thing, it silently stares at you with wide, unblinking eyes. Its face hasn't the slightest trace of emotion on it. Come on, Chief. We're in a building full of some of the sexiest chits this side of the multiverse, and you're stopping to talk to Modrons? What can you tell me about them, Mort? What's there to say? Annoying little clockwork pests. They're always working to impose law and order upon the multiverse. Not good, mind you, just law. Let's just forget about them. Go chat up the ladies, eh? Ignore Mort. Greet the Modron. Its voice has a metallic reverberating quality to it, as if it were more sound played out of some warped musical instrument than speech. Your greeting is returned. There's a soft click as the creature blinks. An awkward silence hangs in the air between the two of you. I had some questions. Identify yourself. I'm not sure who I am. We would know why this is so. I don't know myself, I just can't remember. All things should have a name. All things should be identified. We find your answer unsatisfactory, but it shall have to suffice for the present. We would identify ourselves as Modrons, Quadron type, winged variant to the subject. I have some questions. The subject is free to ask a question. What are you doing here? Our purpose here is observation. What are you observing? We are observing one of the establishment's staff. Who? I previously stated we are observing one of the establishment's staff. Who exactly are you observing? The object of our scrutiny is named Delora. Why are you watching her? We have not been informed as to the specific purpose of or purposes which resulted in our being given our present task. The command of our superior Pentadron is sufficient reason to perform said task. As such, the purpose or purposes are irrelevant to us. I have more questions. Do you know anything about Brothel Puzzlewell? We know nothing about any being or object possessing such an appellation. What can you tell me about this place? A building located in the section of Sigil commonly known as the Clerk's Ward. We cannot give exact coordinates as the surface of Sigil changes at intervals we have not determined as of the present. The building itself is known as the Brothel of Slaking Intellectual Lusts. It serves as what may be broadly defined as a language school. The students of the school are primarily females who intend to, at some point we have not yet determined, in which varies from student to student, become a factotum of the Society of Sensation. That's all I wanted to know. Farewell. Let's speak to Delora then. This dark-haired, pale-skinned woman has a cultured, refined look about her. As she turns to you, you note that her eyes, which you had previously thought to be gray, are the color of brushed steel. Greetings. The woman's voice is soft, calm, and without inflection. It has a certain far-away quality, as if somehow not attached to her. Greetings. I am called Delora. May I serve you somehow? In what ways can you serve me, Delora? She blinks her eyes, then touches her hand to her heart, bowing her head slightly. I am able to debate any scholarly or academic matter quite proficiently, if that is your wish. I am also well versed in various games of strategy. Should you wish to play something, though I have the materials for a few such games here. Debate, you say? That is correct. I am neither a tome nor a tutor. I have no desire to educate my patrons. Should you have a matter to discuss, however, the 15 factions and their effects on Sigillian politics, the most effective battle stratagems for warring in Acheron, the meaning of existence itself, I would be most pleased to choose a counterpoint and engage you in debate. I'll choose a topic. You choose a topic and begin. The debate lasts a long time, as the two of you exchange points and counterpoints, each attempting to methodically undermine the other's position. As you speak, a strange feeling begins to come over you, a memory trying to surface. Bring it to the fore. Memories of the Great Hall begin to form in your mind, a vast place full of well-dressed elites. A formal ball was taking place. Before you was a small, impeccably dressed fellow who wore a golden medallion. It was emblazoned with a symbol you dimly recall as the sign of one. The two of you stood in a circle of onlookers who gathered to listen to you debate. Continue the memory. But that's impossible, the man was saying, looking perplexed. Oh, but it is. I've made several inarguable points and given you a number of examples. You simply don't exist. But you can't. Were I to accept that, Yes. You'd cease to exist. And without a flash of light or a puff of smoke, with no fanfare of any sort, the man was simply gone. The onlookers oohed and awed. Some clapped. You remembered giving a flourished bow and walking away, a small, satisfied smile on your lips. You suddenly realized Delora is watching you closely. Are you feeling well? We might finish our discussion at another time. Should you like? No. Let's continue. As hard-pressed as you are to beat Delora's infallible sense of logic, you eventually win out. She merely nods in approval. You're a most skilled debater. There is no denying. I do feel, though, that I had time to perform such research, you might not have bested me. Thank you. Perhaps not. Oh, no, thank you. If you'd like, we can debate once more upon the same topic. If you could argue a position this time, should you desire it. Are you always so ruthless in a debate? Mistress Grace instructed me to show no mercy. For another of her students always allows a patron to win after a lengthy debate. It was Mistress Grace's desire that I prove a different sort of experience for the clientele. Could we play a game now? Of course. Is there anything in particular you wish to play? No, I don't really remember any games. Allow me to show you one. Delora brings out a thin lacquered box, which unfolds into a small board marked with a grid. The contents of the box prove to be a number of polished stone chips, half of them black, half of them white. This game goes by many names. Shall I explain the rules to you? Yes, please. How the chips are moved, how one beats best one opponents. It seems somehow faintly familiar to you. The rules are simple, yes, but a great deal of complexity lies within the game. Shall we play? Yes, let's. As you play, you come to realize you've done so before. You recall various ploys and strategies that have won you previous games and employ every trick you know to beat her. Suddenly a strange feeling comes over you. A memory. Memories of a smoke-filled field of battle begin to fill your mind. Atop a great hill overlooking the fighting, you sat mounted upon a massive four-legged beast. The braying of horns carried your orders to the troops below. Even as you watched, your forces divided, fleeing left and right as the foreign army fought its way up the hill to kill the enemy lord. You. The fools you had thought. Lips curling into a wicked smile. My knights shall charge down the hillside and stop their advance in an instant, and at that very moment my retreating footmen will fall in to crush their flanks. Another victory will soon be mine. You suddenly realize Delora is watching you. Are you feeling well? Perhaps we should play the game another day. No, the game must continue. Delora plays excellently, counteracting all but your most crafty moves, but eventually your feints and calculating maneuvers win over her well-crafted strategy. You are a fine player, perhaps a master. I commend you for your skill. You always play so mercilessly. I understand. Farewell, Delora. I had some questions for you. I am willing to serve you as patron, but have no wish to answer other questions at this time. My apologies, but I fear you shall simply have to bear on with that for the time being. Is there anything I can help you with?
Updated my journal.
No, I'm afraid not. My troubles are a matter of the heart. In time, I think, all things shall be resolved. Are you certain there's nothing I can do? Certain? No, I'm not. My first love, Merryman, possesses still the keys to my heart. So long as he has them, I shan't be free to love another. This is the cause of my melancholy. Why don't you speak him out and speak with him? I may not leave this place. The reasons why are deeply personal, and not to be shared with strangers, even ones who might bestow a kindness upon myself. But suffice to say, I cannot seek out Merryman myself. I'll find him and speak to him on your behalf.
Updated my journal.
Were you to find and speak with Merryman, I'd be most grateful. He's a member of the Society in Sensation, so you may wish to ask for him at the Civic Fest Hall. I'll return when I find him. Farewell. Is there anyone else in this area? No. Well, let's go counterclockwise, because I break the rules. Yves, the Tail Chaser. This fetching young woman has a faraway look in her soft sea green eyes. Greetings. Greetings, I'm Yves, the Tail Chaser. What a coincidence! I too chase tails! Have you come to trade tails? I had some questions. Why are you called the Tail Chaser? Once upon a time, a girl came to an oracle who was rumored to know many things, and asked of it a boon. Her life was in need of direction, so she asked this oracle as to what would give her purpose. Go on. Now the oracle was not evil, but it was vague and tended towards drink, which caused it to be obscure in many matters of judgment and focus. Its only answer to the girl's question was that within one story that she would hear in her lifetime was the truth that she was seeking. The girl went off and collected stories, which she chases to this day, not knowing which of the thousands hold the truth. Such is the danger of a foolish question and the wisdom of an unspoken one. I have another question. What are you doing here? I collect tales and trade them with others who have tales of their own. Do you know anything about Ravel Puzzlewell? The tale of Ravel Puzzlewell, frightener of children, begins and ends with a question. What can change the nature of a man? Go on. Many were the times she posed this riddle to those who approached her, those who sought to glean from her the strange magics that she alone seemed to possess. All attempted to answer her query, but to no avail, and they found the price of their wrong answer to be some horrible fate, always more terrible than the last victim's. To recount their various torments would be to speak of things that nightmares are woven from. Go on. The tale strikes me in this way. Ravel herself knew not the answer to this question, but she lusted for the answer. Only the why of the matter remained in question. Why did the nature of a man matter to one of the Grey Sisters, especially one such power as Ravel? It is said that she put the question to the Lady of Pain, not directly, but shouted it to Sigil itself, daring for the lady to answer. When no reply was forthcoming, she wove terrible magics that threatened to open the cage and let the fury of the plains roll out like a wave. She received no answer from other than banishment. To this day, no one knows the answer to Ravel's question, and now there is no one to petition, for Ravel herself is gone, lost to the plains.
Updated my journal.
There is more. Though my tale ends with Ravel's demise, there are some that claim the hag still lives. There is a silent prostitute here who once talked of such things, but she speaks no longer. If she would speak to you, she might tell you more of Ravel. What can you tell me of this silent prostitute?
Updated my journal.
Echo? I once heard a tale of a girl who knew the word that, if spoken, would undo the multiverse. Perhaps that was Echo. Ask Delora, though. I understand that she sometimes meets with one who knew Echo before she stopped speaking. May we trade tales? Yes, I would like that very much. Ask one of your companions if they have a story to tell. Mort, do you have a story to trade? Me? Why do I have to tell her a story? Just tell a story, Mort. Fine. An elderly man was sitting alone on a dark path, right? He wasn't certain of which way to go, and he'd forgotten both where he was traveling to, who he was, and where he had gone. He sat down for a moment to rest his weary legs, and suddenly looked up to see an elderly woman before him. She grinned toothlessly, and with a cackle spoke. Now your third wish, what will it be? Go on, Mort. Third wish? The man was baffled. How can it be a third wish if I hadn't had the first and the second? Go on, Mort. You've had 2 wishes already, the hag said, but your second wish was for me to return everything to the way it was before you made your first. That's why you remember nothing, because everything is the way it was before you made any wishes. So it's that you only have 1 wish left. All right, said the man. I don't believe this, but there's no harm in wishing. I wish to know who I am. Funny, said the old woman. That was your first wish. An interesting tale, Mort. And now I've one for you and your companion. The Fiend's Game. Go on. A fiend sometimes wandered the wilderness of a certain prime world in the guise of a friendly old man. One day he came upon some hunters in the wood. What are you doing? The fiend asked. The hunters told him, and the fiend nodded. I have never been on a hunt before. The hunters invited the old man to come along, and the group eventually came upon a glade where several deer were grazing. The hunters carried crossbows but did not fire, and the fiend asked them why. They are unarmed, the hunters chuckled, patting their crossbows. We hunt nothing that does not have the ability to defend itself. After all, where's the sport in that? The fiend nodded at this, promptly gated in 3 of his fellows. The hunters led him on a merry chase. But eventually they were caught and eaten. And promptly gated. Oh, gated in 3 of his fellows, and the hunters led them on a merry chase. Got it. Okay. That is very funny. I don't know. There are more tales to tell. There are more tales to tell and share, but I feel like I can't help but shake the idea that Mort's tale was about us.